Robin's got a question. What if you're selling a service that isn't an immediate purchase?
Robin, could you unmute if you could, and we'll just discuss it real quick? Could you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So one of the adventures that I'm like looking into doing is becoming a travel agent, and I want to build a website around that and utilize the Google ad campaign for that. So if you contacted me to be your travel agent, you wouldn't be paying me until like the point of purchase and not like at purchase. Does that make sense? Like when you contact me, there's information that needs to go back. It becomes a person-to-person transaction and not necessarily an e-commerce transaction.
That makes sense. The only thing I would say is you wouldn't be able to run shopping ads to that. Shopping ads specifically when using Google Merchant Center, you can sell non-physical products. The thing is when you launch Google Merchant Center and you try to launch a shopping campaign, Googlebot is essentially going to go through and try to buy something, and they'll bring it all the way up to the point where they place an order on the site almost. So that's gonna be something where you'll still be able to run Google ads. You're just gonna be running a lead generation campaign on search, which we're gonna be going through with search, DSA, dynamic marketing, and actually just generalized marketing and video and GSP and display and discovery and all that other stuff. You'll be able to utilize all those. You won't be utilizing Google Merchant Center or the shopping campaigns just because it needs to have a cart checkout functionality upon first visit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what if you said, I'm going to sell you a free t-shirt with my logo on it to become my customer?
You could do that. It couldn't be free. They have to give some sort of monetary value, so $1 or whatever it may be. But that has to be something I could check out, and that t-shirt will be the only thing that Google Shopping will be using. So I don't think that it would possibly be a good idea to try to sell a t-shirt for that service, just because Google's going to find out all the people that really could care less about travel but want a t-shirt. So again, shopping may not be the best for that. Usually shopping is going to be good for those repeatable, really high intent driven purchases. So I need A, I'm going to buy A, I'm going to go find and buy A.
Yeah, so what Robin's talking about is a pivot though, Robin. So like I saw a realtor who sells a moving kit. Mm-hmm. And if you buy a moving kit, he's pretty sure you're going to sell your house. So now his pivot isn't really making money from the moving kit. It's trying to be your realtor, which I think is kind of the direction you're headed in.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I just make sure that that's something that is going to be viable because Google, again, they don't know your true intentions. You do. But is there a big demand for that shirt? If there's not, you might not even have any sale to generate yourself a lead.
Well, and is the shirt an indication that they want a travel agent?
Exactly. Yeah. So it maybe, if there's someone that is looking to travel and you're going to be a travel agent, maybe finding, maybe adding luggage to your site would be a great idea.
Well, and my thing was we talked about service in the 3X Shopify challenge. So that's where I was like kind of trying to figure out what the spin on that would be, or the pivot.
Yeah. And you can have, hire a travel agent for, $1. And then someone can actually go and like check out and hire you for $1. And then you have your value proposition on a product page saying, when you hire me for $1, I will do it and then deliver you the lowest price possible. So again, not saying that that's going to work, but a way to use shopping for that. Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
John has a pro tip. I copy pasted my policies into Pages and then went to online store navigation policies and then set them up as menu items, and I was back in compliance.
Yep. So exactly. And Shauna, you're and Daryl, I'll call on you next. I heard that you were going to speak, so I'll get right back to you. But Shauna, that's exactly right. Just because you have your policies and you have your legalese on your site doesn't mean you're in compliance. And so Shauna said, yeah, I had to go and add them to my sitemap, and then now I'm in compliance. So that's exactly right. It's so stupid. It's on the site, just Google didn't find it, and that's what we need to make sure that we make sure Google finds it. Daryl, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Hey man, I'm good. You all are kicking my ass. I'm gonna say that. I'm definitely gonna say that. My question is, I'm running 3 stores at the same time, all in startup mode. One of them is a CBD wellness store. Now I'm looking at all the compliances and I'm thinking about the ads and all that. Now, how would I be able to do that especially with, even though CBD is not cannabis, with the litigations and the legal sides of actually promoting this business, because that's the hardest thing in that industry as far as the marketing and promotion. So how would I go about doing that using Smart Cart and things of that nature?
They sell CBD, and this was a nightmare for us. Now,
so good news, Daryl. Good news.
Kicking my ass again. Thank you.
Well, it was a pain in the ass, but we figured it out. So you'll be the beneficiary of it. Now, I don't work with this gentleman anymore. He was a referral to at least get him into compliancy. I hope this, please don't take this as a health hath no fury like a digital marketer scorned, but they end up going with a different agency that said that they're experts at CBD, and you can kind of see when ours were run and then when they started running theirs. So we don't work with them anymore, unfortunately. I kept access to this because he goes, I might be calling you again. Like, I can see why. But we were able to get this up and running, and we were able to make some sales. And then the gentleman who owns this, his name's Dan. He ran Dan Test and then try to beat us. And so, good on him. Very, very savvy entrepreneur, awesome person. But here's the thing that we found. You can say things like, you can go after the keywords of CBD, and that's huge. Because you can go after CBD tincture. Feel CBD was actually a competitor. Hemp, whole plant hemp is very CBD-esque type of searches. Full spectrum hemp, like those things are good. You can go after CBD. What you can't do is have CBD in your ads, or have CBD anywhere on your website. And so what you have to have is, like, you can have a picture that says full spectrum hemp extract. You can have a picture that says CBD if it's kind of grainy, like Google may not be able to read the image and pick it up.
We got penalized elsewhere for that too.
Yeah. And so that's that. You're going to have a lot of testing. You can say things like edibles. You can say tinctures. You can see here, we're not using CBD in the title. So it was DSO1 pure. And then inside of that, you can say things like whole hemp extract, whole plant hemp extract. But what you'll notice is it doesn't say CBD anywhere on the page.
Even the reviews. Who was it, John, that we got penalized because somebody had something, it wasn't CBD, but some term in the reviews.
Someone said something in a review. They pulled it in as an automated an automated plugin in their website that was readable text. And someone said, I love this CBD. And it wasn't CBD. I'm just using an example. But if someone leaves a review on their site that says best CBD ever, instant suspension. And apparently this client, their company, whoever's doing it now, they didn't follow what we found out, and now it says recreational drugs. So I don't know what they did. Maybe MCT oil, possibly. I don't exactly know how they did this, but they ended up getting them banned. Rich hemp, maybe. So what I would say is full spectrum, whole plant. Those are okay. I only had about a month and a half to work on the campaign, so I know that we got it in compliancy because of this. But that's just a golden rule: is it can never say CBD anywhere. But it's absolutely possible. We were able to sell, and we were able to get up and running, and we were able to make some good sales for him. And he was starting to get good, and that's when he kind of got excited and said this is possible, and then tried to hire someone else. And God bless them. I hope they find the most success as possible. I'm here always helping them, but but that's the thing too, is what I have been able to find is that again, hemp extract, whole plant, full spectrum. I would stick to those worked. Again, but then any other variations, MCT apparently is a banned keyword. Didn't know that. They just found that out this way apparently. So can't say MCT, but hopefully that helps you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Wanda has a pro tip for you, by the way, Daryl. She says, my friend works in CBD and Shopify payments are not available for hemp or CBD products. You have to take DigiPay or Pinwheel.
Right. Yes. Yeah,
I didn't
know that. Yeah. They only have two, but then when you go into their back channel, they do list how many you can't use, because that's always an issue as well. The payment processing and banking. Like I said, once again, even though it's not cannabis, it's still CBD hemp, and the regulations are still funky with it a little bit.
half legal drug dealing, they think.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it.
Jared, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to joke around saying, Jared, if I knew that, I probably would just sell that list and be super rich.
Yeah, I'd be a lot wealthier. I am going to drop in Google's ad policies, a link to them, because they do offer up some guardrails. Yeah, but it's just super gray.
Yeah, it's like in their rules it says don't do anything that's not, abiding by the rules.
Don't do sometimes rules. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the rules. Follow these rules. Yeah. So unfortunately, yeah, I wish that there was a list. But again, it's a lot of trial and error. Now here's a guidance I can give you. Be very careful how many times you test Google, because multiple disapprovals leads to suspension. And it sometimes can be 2 disapprovals to a suspension. Sometimes it's 50 disapprovals to a suspension. It's not consistent. Again, good thing that we know about Google is they're not consistent. So when you are testing things, when you get disapprovals, try to avoid the brute strength approach where it's like, what about that? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Like any variations, all of a sudden what Google basically says is, okay, we kept warning you and you kept testing it, so now you're suspended. Google basically has, if they ever think you're trying to bypass, you get suspended. Whenever they think you're trying to bypass is up to their discretion. So and that's like with that CBD, like the first thing I knew is, okay, CBD, I just had a gut feeling we can never say CBD. That was right. If we try to make different variations of CBD, C space B space D, might have worked, but it could have also got us suspended. So just be very mindful, everyone here, that if you ever run into any disapprovals, trying to brute strength your way through it will lead to a suspension. And I can't tell you if it's going to be the first or second time. But
we get people that tell us all the time, well, my competitor's doing it. I'm seeing somebody else out there doing it. And I'm always like, God bless them. They just haven't been caught yet. And maybe they haven't reached critical mass. Maybe they're on their way to suspension. And as an agency, we can't take that client because it risks, the 140 other clients that we have. So you can fly fast and loose and get away with it for a little bit, but it's not going to last forever.
Well, the other part too is the competitors might have been doing it prior to that ruling. So I do see that quite often. If a competitor's been doing it prior to that ruling and you say, I want to start doing that, you're already past the point where it's like, you're now not, there's no more habeas corpus, like you can't have been in violation prior before it was a violation, but you can't start in a violation now. So it just means that those other competitors will eventually get to the point of disapproval / suspension. You just can't start there because they just have not been caught. That you will be caught because Google's going to check on you the first day. Once you're up and running for some time, we've seen Google not check on campaigns for 3 to 6 months. So it doesn't mean that competitor won't be ultimately suspended or disapproved. They just haven't been that yet. But if the longevity that you have means Google has a less eye on you. If all of a sudden you start to add more pages and ton of ad spend, Google checks on you. So that's just some rule of thumb of why sometimes competitors don't. Now there is a snitching button on Google. You can report someone. There is a snitch button that says, if you believe that an advertiser is going against their policies, please place their URL here. And there is a snitch button, but that goes against kind of who I am. So I'm not going to give you that link. We ain't no snitches.
Digital stitches. Nia says, I keep getting a disapproval on a body oil, something about pharmaceutical claims. Can't figure out what I'm saying wrong. Is all the other products are approved? Very frustrating.
Yeah, Neha, and again, what was your URL? I'm sorry.
jadelily.com.
All right, so you're going to get disapproval on body oil. Now, body oil, the product itself. And Neha, if you want to, you can unmute if you like. I just make sure we can get through this quickly if you like.
Body oil.
Hi. Yeah,
Hello.
I'm getting disapproved on the Neroli Blossom body oil, but the lavender one's approved. Everything else is approved. I've removed anything that I think could trigger it, but it's still getting disapproved. I don't know why.
And then does it give you a disapproval reason?
It says, hold on. It says violation of shopping ads policy.
Now, and that's a merchant center?
Yes.
Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me just read up on it. Have you tried appealing this yet?
Yes.
Okay, and then they came through and said, we found that the product still violates our policy?
So I appealed it. It went through. They said, okay, yeah, it's approved. And then the following week it was disapproved again.
Okay, perfect. Reappeal it. And I know that's it's annoying. But if it's ever been approved, what this means is the difference between the manual and the automation. So automation and manual, those are two separate entities. One's a computer, one's a person. The computer keeps seeing an issue with it. The person keeps saying, no, that's not an issue. So when you reappeal again, what we're trying to get Google to do is essentially white label the product. So Google can white label the product so that it's excluded from the automation. But since the computer thinks it's bad, but Google knows it's good, when you reappeal, sometimes, and again, sometimes it's a big pain. We've had 8,000 products, and we're able to get 1,700 approved every 2 weeks. Like we had to do it like this arduous.
So, but is it bad to keep reappealing? Because I did reappeal it after that, and it still came back as not approved.
Oh,
so now I'm afraid to do it again.
So it was disapproved, repealed, approved, disapproved, repealed, again, disapproved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, you can reappeal it.
Okay.
The good part about this too is we're going to need to lean on Google, because this is essentially the difference between that computer and that disapproval. What's nice is since you have been manually and physically approved by a person, they override that stuff. So I would say that when you reappeal, you can actually contact the Google's Merchant Center team through Merchant Center. And what's nice about that is you can ask them specifics, because say, hey, I and tell the story. I was disapproved. I appealed. You came back and said we were approved. It is getting disapproved. Can you give me any direction as to why it's approved? Sometimes what it might think is that, like, I'm guessing, and I'm let me just look at something. Hold on. So here's what I would say. This I would probably bet money on is the issue. On your website here on the page, this is the product, correct?
Yes.
See how it says sativa?
Yeah.
Sativa, when you Google it, it's cannabis sativa.
Oh, it's rice bran oil though. That's weird.
Sativa is technically a type of cannabis, so that's probably what the Googlebot's catching, that the human is not.
So I have at least 4 other products. One of them also a body oil that has rice bran oil in it, listed the same way. Like I know we're supposed to list the the scientific term for the ingredient. So I've done that according to FDA rules. Mm-hmm. And I'm just confused why that stinks.
Yep. And so what I would say is, I'm not an attorney, but if you could say rice bran oil, Oriza bran oil, do you have to include the word sativa?
Yeah, that's the scientific name.
Okay, this is a little bit of like the FDA versus Google now.
Right.
Maybe what might be a good idea is to remove it just in the short term, get reapproved through the automation, and then in about a month add it back in.
Okay.
That's what I'd recommend. But this is sometimes the hunting that we have to do. Everyone, just on a side note, a lot of agencies charge anywhere between like $4,500 and $7,500 to work through these disapprovals, because it takes someone to go through and scan the entire website and say, aha, this was taken out of context. So you kind of saw that in action here. That's how simple this gets. One word taken out of context that Google believes, oh, we can index you for marijuana, cannabis, and disapproved. So, and it doesn't mean that those other products won't get disapproved in the future. Mm-hmm. It just means that this is how Googlebot's looking at each individual word, taking it out of context and say, does that, you can say on your website, this is not a steroid. And Google will say, oh, steroids. So that's sometimes how ridiculous this gets.
So should I remove it from the other products even though it hasn't been triggered yet?
I don't want to get you into hot water with the FDA.
Right.
So, I would say you kind of have to balance that. If it were me, I would remove it and just hope I don't, ever get an issue. I don't think you're necessarily, like Nike, where you're like on a watch list essentially to making sure that this multi-billion-dollar corporation stays in policy. You'll probably be okay for some short term, at least just to satisfy Google, then add it back in. But again, when you add it back in, you run again getting subsequent suspensions.
It's always a good idea to put a picture of the ingredients instead in the gallery.
Yeah, it can. Now, in my opinion, though, well, I actually like this way better, just because this is going to be part of the description that the feed is going to read. So if someone's looking for rice bran oil moisturizer, bam, you're top dead center. But I highly doubt that someone's going to look for Oriza sativa bran oil moisturizer. They'll probably say rice bran. And that's why I was saying for a compliancy and an efficiency Google perspective, I would remove just the word sativa for right now. And then and then resubmit it for approval. Once it gets reapproved, let it run for some time, and then just quietly add it back in.
Okay.
Again, you're compliant with FDA, but now non-compliant with Google, you just have not been caught yet. And it might be a year from now or never that you get caught. Again, it's the fine balancing act that we have to play.
Okay. Thank you.
Tamika's asking, there are review apps that allow you to import reviews for your products. Will Google ban your ads if they're able to track this?
Well, I mean, if the reviews have like, swear words and talking about, negative things, then yeah, they will catch it and suspend you. What I would say is in the review app, if you have a way to filter or review the review prior to it showing up on the website, that's what I would do. You want to filter that out. Also, automated extensions is another area that we're going to go into. Things like shopper approved, things like there's another Trustpilot. They will actually give you a supplemental feed inside of Google Merchant Center to show up reviews against your products, at least the review stars. I have seen reviews inside of those Trustpilots and shopper approved that have banned keywords that ultimately have led to a suspension. It is very, 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 very rare, almost non-existent. I've seen it one time that we actually had to remove the supplemental feed from GMC, get it reapproved, and then add it back in later on. But I would say that from a GMC perspective, with those automated extensions inside of the review extensions area, you'll be fine. But if you pull in text versions, again, Google sees all text on page. They take every word out of context. And if there is a review on there that says, I no longer need to smoke weed anymore, it's going to say, oh, smoke weed, banned. So yeah, just be mindful of every physical word inside of those reviews.
Yeah, we had AgRun. They got in trouble or disapproved because somebody said something to the effect of like, better than marijuana or whatever. And
yeah,
there was a flag.
It was that. Then there's also there's another thing that is going to be dealing with suspensions and suspension risks. There is shipping issues. Now, does anybody here, and by show of hands or unmuting and saying I, will act like this is 1700s government, say aye or nay. But is anybody here use a shipping tool, like a shipping plugin or a shipping app on their website that calculates shipping by zip codes or anything like that? That's outside of normal Shopify hosted shipping calculators. Oh, I love you all. Thank you. There's if your shipping on your website differs than the shipping in your feed, if the feed is 1 penny higher than what is on the website, you will get disapproved. Or sorry, 1 penny lower than what's on the website, you will get disapproved or suspended. So yeah, how do I solve missing value shipping in Google Merchant Center for my digital products? Michael, for digital products, you have to put 0. If it's blank, you'll have an issue. You have to put 0. Google says that if the shipping is 0 and you leave it blank, it'll be missing. But if you put 0, you'll be approved, or not approved, but you'll be in compliance again. So hopefully, Michael, that helps you out there.
Can I read what Mariana said real quick?
Yeah.
Hey guys, quick follow-up on our first call. My question about disapproved ads for disapproved substances. I removed the blog and the ads are now approved, so it worked.
Hey.
That's awesome. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's so stupid. I love Google, but I just hate them too at the same time. Good. I'm glad that worked. Jared, can you please repeat your answer to Michael? Oh, John, Jared said, John, can you please repeat your answer? Yes. So when you have a digital product, your shipping amount cannot be blank. It has to actually say 0. You have to type in physically 0 and then save it that way. Michael, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, can I get some extra clarification on that?
Sure.
So when you say 0, where am I doing that? Within Shopify, like on the product, I'm marking it as does not require shipping or whatever, because I don't want the person to have to enter a shipping address on checkout.
Got it. Now, Google compliance, you would have to say yes, and then you do a flat rate of 0. But for the shipping address, that would be now on the Shopify side. And this is kind of a BS answer, so I'm sorry, but you might have to just web develop that section out.
Could we fix that in DFW? Keep it the way it is in Shopify and then push the shipping information in DFW?
You might even be able to bypass it in DFW. So, and here I'll just I'll share my screen. Michael, can you see the screen okay?
Yeah.
So here's what you want to do. You have to go to Solutions 8. I hate Google Merchant Center for sub accounts. It's like you go into your own account and then it's like, oh, here's all your other sub accounts. So go into, here's what you want to do is inside of the setting icons here, you have shipping and returns. And then you have shipping services. You're going to build your own custom shipping service.
So that's what I did, and I must be doing something wrong because I've got like a different shipping service for like our various suppliers, and then where they're free shipping, and then a different one where we charge shipping, and then for our own digital products. And I tried to apply that to the products, but I don't know what's going wrong with it.
So you like right here, you filtered by products with the shipping label. Is that where you put your product here and then just put it as a 0 to 99999 is $0?
Wait, so how did you get to? I was looking at my screen. How'd you get to this screen?
Yep. So what we did with this one here, go back here, is we did a shipping service, and then when we created a new one, and this is live, so I can't like create a new one.
I see.
But in the cost, we use one shipping rate, and in the shipping rate, they have it matched to all products. However, you can have it chosen on only your non-tangible products, your digital products, and then this would say like one product, and that one product would you'll filter by products by the shipping label, and you have to use the shipping label here. Now this takes a little bit of an advance because you have to create a shipping label for that one product, but then you're just going to have to mark it 0.
Okay, so I do have the label, and I just put our brand name in there, and then the shipping rate name I put
whatever you want.
Free. But then, so at the bottom, all orders I put shipping costs. I selected no shipping, but I should put a fixed rate $0.
Exactly, it's fixed rate between like order weight. It would be 000 to like 99999. And then obviously, if you have 2 destinations, just have one destination. Just say everywhere, essentially all areas, and then just put in right here 0.
Okay, and for destination, obviously these digital products can be shipped all over the world.
Right, and that's basically on your feed. Where your feed is your feed located for all countries, and you placed all countries in there.
I don't know. We're using. I'm trying an app for that. I forget which one it is. So I don't know exactly what's happening with that.
No worries. Inside of here, when you look at your products in your feeds, in your feed, you're going to see the country of sale, and wherever the country of sale is here, if you have like 50 of them, when you go in and create your own custom shipping rate, it'll say, would you like to select all of these areas? And you're just going to say yes. So you're basically saying, here's everywhere they're available to be sold, and everywhere that they're available to be sold, it's a $0 shipping rate.
Okay, yeah. So on that screen that you're on, I'm just seeing United States. For my feed name is Content API, and then country of sale is just United States.
So technically, you're only allowed to sell. Well, not only allowed. My apologies. Technically, Google will only mark your products for sale in the United States.
Right. So I got some work to do there to set the digital products to where they could sell anywhere.
And you do the right Merchant Center here. Inside of here, when you click on the feed name, yours is Content API. Give me 1 second. Yeah, go into settings here. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll have those 3 vertical drop downs. You can add countries of sale. And where you add all of these here, this is now going to allow ads to run ads in those countries.
But and that's okay to do at the feed level, even though my feed includes like the physical products that can only ship within the 48 United States.
You can use a supplemental feed if you'd like. So inside of here, instead of feeds, here you'll see use supplemental feeds as secondary data source. So you can actually add a supplemental feed for that one, or for the digital products, and then the supplemental feed will have all of those countries of sales for those.
Okay, that seems a little cleaner anyway.
Yeah, or you can even add just a secondary feed. You can kind of separate them, And then when you're in Google Ads, you say, here's my products. These are all my digital products. And that campaign can then have the locations of all of the countries that match your feed. So this way you're kind of separating them out. You can run multiple feeds.
Gotcha. All right. Awesome.
And Michael, I know that you were one of my people that were like not sure if this was going to be beneficial to you. And I even told you, hey, you might not even need to come here. But is this so far been good for you?
So far it's been great. And the funny thing is, I thought the first few days would be like the ones where I don't know how much value I'm going to get out of them, but really I've gotten a lot of value out of it so far. And then I think the best is even yet to come. So pretty cool.
Awesome. I always like to do just a quick heart check because I hate to seem like the charlatan that's like, yeah, go ahead and buy it. You're going to love it. And then you're like, this is so stupid. So I'm glad this is helping.
No, this is great. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Absolutely. I know we have about 15 minutes left.
We finally did some on time, by the way. Like we actually got through everything we're supposed to get to. We're going to end on time. But yeah, we have time for some questions.
Yeah, and to everyone here, that's not all of the suspension risks. Just a few off the top of my head that I know is starting off. This is recent. Starting off with massive sales on all products is a misrepresentation now. Go figure. So a good rule of thumb there is if you have a product with a GTIN and you marked it up to higher than what usual MSRP is on that product, and then discounted it back down to MSRP, that's misrepresentation now. So for my drop shippers, it's a common desire to say like, hey, if I show a good sale, I'll earn that business. Google's gonna suspend you again now. So that's kind of a newer one that I think is important. Again, just as a general rule of thumb, Google is going to look at every word across every single page, including your blog on your site. And this is what I just helped someone with, like Cosm just mentioned it. They had a disapproved issue in one of their blogs. It wasn't even where we're driving traffic to, but Google just said, let me scan your entire site. They went through every single word in their blog. Maybe the blog was written by someone else that doesn't know that Google can't say these things. And bam, caused a suspension. So just understand that Google is not, and it's a common misconception that Google, we just look at the page that we're sending traffic to. It doesn't need to be. It could be a blog from 2016 that mentioned stem cell therapy and then boop, suspended. So that's why companies sometimes charge $5,000 because they scan your entire website and interpret every single every single word and say, this is possibly taken out of context. Let's fix that. So in terms of content disapprovals, again, like Neha's issue, it would sometimes looking at individual like, holy crap, like I didn't even think that had any sort of relation to marijuana. Those are all those little suspension risks. Can you explain why drop shippers are a ban risk? I missed that. If you have to make it a product that has a normal price of X dollars and you mark it up high, that's okay. But you can't mark it up high and then discount deep back down to that price. So if a normal price on Amazon and on Walmart, and I know that this is something that we actually discussed yesterday, but if you have a normal price that is everywhere else, if everywhere else is selling for 10 and you're selling it for 30, that's fine. You can't sell for 30 and then sale price it down to 10. Google will misrepresentation that. So just be mindful of any sales that you do run, because Google's gonna say, you're just trying to, you're trying to price gouge and con people is what Google thinks. Also right now, as a side note, and anybody thinking about PPE, cloth masks are approved. The masks that are paper and disposable are not yet anyway. They are going to be soon, but they're not yet. So just as a quick side note, in case anybody had any questions about that. But yeah, that's everything that I can kind of think of off the top of my head. It's not everything as possible.
Well, the problem is nobody knows everything that's possible, right? Like it's sort of a venture, jump the hurdle as they get thrown up.
Yep, and tax is another thing. If your website and your feed have different tax rates, which is very common, what ends up happening is if you use like TaxJar, which is an add-on service, very popular. And if your website says, in my area where this is going to be sold, your website says, I'm going to charge you $2.86 in tax. And your feed says, I'm going to charge you $2.10 in tax. Then you're going to get disapproved. So if your website shows a tax and your feed shows a tax, that's different. That's a risk for disapproval. I'll kind of give you a, I'll share my screen here in a moment. Just give me 1 minute.
While you're doing that, can I offer up just a quick case study?
Yeah.
We've got a client right now that spent in the month of April $12,600 and made $2 million.
Yeah.
$1,600 and spend $2 million in profit. Here's what's interesting about that client is it took us 2 months. Longer than that.
Yeah.
It took us 2 months to get them past all the suspension and disapproval issues that they were running into because they have so many products. So just to say that it's worth it to jump through these hoops because now these folks are basically making money.
Yeah, and what's funny is that sounds like a really ridiculous. Can I show that?
Yeah, let's do it.
It sounds really ridiculous, like you liars. That's not possible. But yeah, it was a company called Agron. So I'll go. That's like 30 days. Cost 12,000. 1.7 million. 1.4 million here in smart shopping. 318,000 in their brand. Yeah, took 11 grand here in smart shopping and then turned into 1.4 million in 30 days. It was just insanity with 500 sales. Again, almost fired us like twice. But here's what's cool. So check this out. There's this company called, here's how you test this. If you ever run into a suspension that says your tax appears different on your website than your feed, that's all they say. Sometimes they say, here's the 5 products that we've tested it against to see the discrepancy. But these might not all be all 5 products inside of Merchant Center. So if you go into products and then you go into all products, so this is this product here. Now I'm going to grab this SKU/ID and I'm going to search for it on their website. I wonder, of course, who won't be found. Let me just do the photon. I have to match up the products now. So that one looks 1965. That one looks like the same product, 1965. Excellent. So here's what you're going to want to do. Grab that product, add it to the cart, check out. And here's my address, my credit card information. I made a test purchase from them before. And so my taxes are $1.55 going to Cape Creek, Arizona, where I live. So $1.55. Inside of here, what I can do is scroll down and then it says regional attributes preview. And I'm going to say Cave Creek AZ tax 1655. This is okay. You can have the feed be higher than what's on the website. You can never have the website be higher than what's on the feed. Now, this is okay for them because they do a lot of big bulk orders. So their weight-based shipping starts at like $158 just to ship this, when in reality, it's only going to cost them $6.99. But these people specifically deal with like, okay, this large company like Jacuzzi ordered 10,000 of these things. So that's how they do their e-commerce. So it's not directly applicable, but I wanted to show an extreme example. The taxes here of showing 155 is fine if that's lower than what the feed says. It's whenever you have a feed that shows a lower price than what's on your website is an issue, because Google says, well, you brought them there by enticing them with a low tax rate, low shipping rate, but when they try to check out, you upcharge them. So that's an issue. But you can always have a tax higher in your feed and shipping higher in your feed than on your website. Sometimes it's not easily identifiable because you have to go sometimes weight-based where it's like crap. Okay, 1.168 pounds. This 1.69 pounds, like sometimes you have to go that minute. They were just like, hey, let's just overcharge and we're fine. Like it's not going to work. They're pausing anyway for a short period of time just because they're in a silicone detriment of their shipping is, you can see estimated shipping basically next year because they have no items in stock right now. So we had to actually pause them anyway, just because the silicone shortage from COVID caused their whole company to kind of screech to a grinding halt. But I want to kind of share a way for you to diagnose what your tax says in your feed and your tax says on your website, so that if you ever get disapproved or suspended for a tax issue, that's how you identify what those two are saying. Your feed always has to be equal to or higher than what you show on your website.
Let's do some extended Q&A. Cool.
Sure. Oh, and just as a quick side note, I'm going to show everyone how to set up conversion tracking manually without using the Shopify app installation tomorrow. That's going to be part of this. Now, side note, there's going to be some customization per CMS. No two CMSs use the same exact code in order to push a Google conversion action through to Google. That now for Shopify, it was easy because that's why we chose it. We're like, as soon as you do this, bam, all the conversion tracking is done. Okay, so we'll show you that. Just a quick side note, you're going to have to instill a base code, but then your CMS, your content management system, your website sends a specific code. And sometimes that's called cart value. Sometimes that's called sale value. Sometimes that's called purchase value. Sometimes it's order ID. Sometimes it's purchase order. So depending upon the field, it will take some customization of that code for your individual applicable website. And so that's why we didn't templatize this, because it's like, here's the code, hire a developer, customize it, there, now you're done. We kind of have to do that because I can't go through each person's individual theme and CMS in order to say, okay, here's where to do it. I will teach you how to find it the best I can. And then we're gonna have to go on from there. So I hope it's not, again, this is almost like me saying like, I'm sorry, I can't do it for everyone, and like apologizing. I'll give the best I can. It's always up to whoever wrote that theme, whatever words and phrases they chose, that person who wrote it chose, has to be matched up. And I'll see if I can help share a way to find that for everyone that's applicable to all.
And we've got a trap door for that too, though, right? Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. We have a backup, but you have to call Google.
Yeah. So just know that there's cool stuff coming. Neha has a question. What does this mean? I have a GTIN for the products that this is on. Limited performance due to missing identifiers. GTIN MPN brand.
So that means that Google Merchant Center isn't seeing the GTIN that you're sending it. Or it might not actually even be sent. And you said, and Neha, could you unmute if you're okay with that?
Oh, she said, I think I may have figured it out, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Hi. No, yeah, I clicked on the little thing that says Google is not, it's orange or whatever. And it says that it was a custom item because I had done that before I had the GTIN. So I'm wondering if that's overriding it. So I'm going to go back and
if
see
you can
that.
make sure.
Is there a way to like resubmit it, or does it automatically do that?
Well, a couple things. If it's in what they call a content API, that resubmits every midnight.
Oh.
If it's not, if it's a different, you can refetch, or fetch now is what the button's called in GMC, and that will regrab that feed. But if it's a content API, that resets every midnight usually, or like somewhere around midnight. But if it is, you're on Shopify, right?
Yeah.
And is your GTIN in the parent product's GTIN field that's filled in?
Yes, it's in the product field, but when I do the Google channel, it's got the custom product checked, and it doesn't have anything for category. Do I have to fill that in as well, the Google category? Yeah,
I would do Google category. That would be having anything to do with GTIN though. It's a good thing to have, but the GTIN not passing through is odd. My opinion would be reach out to Shopify and see if there's just something not being sent there. Sometimes, and this happened recently in the 3X group where she went through the whole setup and then nothing happened for like 3 days. And like, sometimes it can take longer, but that's odd. And so she actually reached out to, and I forget who it was. So I apologize if you're on the call here, but she reached out to Shopify. Shopify was like, oh, yep, my fault. It wasn't being pushed through. And then they pushed it through and everything was fine.
Okay.
So sometimes it could be a Shopify issue.
Okay. But would the check mark on the custom product be an issue? Do I need to go and take those off or no?
No, if your GTIN is in there, it should pass through. Okay. Unless if there was like again, I can't say with 100% certainty, but it should. There shouldn't be a reason why it would not. But if you wanted to troubleshoot that first and just unselect custom product and see if that sends through, then that should fix it. Yeah.
But I should know pretty much right away.
You'll know within a day. Actually, I would say give it 2 days just to be safe, because it might fetch and then it could take like 4 to 8 hours before it resets. So maybe you just at that point in time give it 48 hours, and then after 48 hours you will know for sure if that fixed it.
Okay, thank you.
Jared and Mike had questions about sales tax. Were those answered already, or are those still pending? Because we went over a sales tax explanation, but I don't know if there's still. Jared said, why would sales tax differ? And Mike said, what's the best way to handle taxes?
So why does sales? Oh, sorry.
It was more of John mentioned tax jar, and if we're relying on a third party like tax jar, why would it differ when it gets to Google?
Yeah, so tax jar updates your website, but tax jar doesn't update your feed. Well, that was actually one of the reasons why Agron almost fired us, because we're like, hey, this is your text jar is updating the website, but the feed is mismatched. And so that's why I keep getting suspended. And we actually finally convinced them just to simply remove text jar and use the automated setting through the direct integration between Shopify and Merchant Center through the content API, so that whenever there was a website change, it changed in the feed because those two discrepancies were competing against each other. A way to fix that is just set up a manual shipping rate that's just, over by like $5, or a manual tax rate that's just over like by a percentile of whatever your ranges could be in text jar. This way it won't have those discrepancies.
Mike, did we answer your question too? What's the best way to handle taxes? Where's Mike?
Oh, there he is. Mike, if you're listening, let me know if we answered that question for you. I apologize. I'm not sure when that question was asked.
Someone's got my favorite question. How? You know what that reminds me? That's Stanford University's entrance exam one year was just why, and apparently the correct answer was why not.
Awesome.
What was this referring to? Sorry, we're behind. Oh, the 12K in ad spend and over $1 million rev. They had 2 million rev. How? They're a white label client. Are we allowed to do that? I'll say smart shopping.
Smart shopping, yeah. Big ticket items too.
Yeah, they have, and really a nice span of the spectrum. I mean, they have some like $12 light bulbs and then $60,000 equipment. So they've got an amazing SKU count.
Mm-hmm. Michael Amato, we sell on Amazon and our own site. In order to beat Amazon price on our site, we offer a discount auto applied in cart with strike through price on the landing page on Shopify. Do you think there's any suspension risk to do it? No, no, just because you're not purposely fluffing it up to extreme values and then discounting it back down to normal values. That's the big issue. You can run sales. That's not an issue. It's just when you say like this pencil is usually $27,000, but it's $1.99 for us. Staples also has it for $1.99. Then it's like, okay, they're going to catch that. So that's not an issue. Also, just Michael, a side note, if you can if you can have like free 2-day shipping on your website, that's a really big indicator that someone doesn't need to hop over to Amazon to order, which possibly takes off like 20% of your profit margin. So I would try to pick the same attributes about why people buy from Amazon: free returns, 2-day shipping, and low price. Copy that on your website. This way you don't spend a bunch of money to send traffic to your website that end up buying on Amazon.
Can I
Charlie
there?
Yeah.
That's the ecosystem that every e-commerce seller is in right now, by the way. If Amazon is stealing some of your traffic, your products, your customers, your whatever, matching that 2-day shipping, if it's possible, sometimes it's not feasible, but that's one of the ways that you can compete. If you can't do the 2-day, at least do free shipping, and then build that into the price of your product. We've seen people do that, increase the price of the product, offer free shipping, and then all of a sudden their conversions begin to increase.
Yeah. But the other part too is like, if you do have people that buy on Amazon a lot, you're going to spend a lot of money to send traffic to your website that ultimately will buy on Amazon. But your automated bidding strategies like target return ad spend, maximize conversion value, all those are going to fail because they're not going to see those conversions.
Where are we with Amazon attribution tracking? I know they rolled something out. It was crap. Any sense as to what's on the horizon? It's
still in beta. UTM parameters are still kind of funky. I've been working with the client right now on it, and it's like, it's good enough to run like, supplemental campaigns, but we still send 80% of the budget right to their website. We just also send 20% of the budget to Amazon. And unless it's like producing a 10x return that we can track, we just don't run it.
Cool. Charlie, does anyone have an experience running ads for alcohol? Drinks are on, Charlie.
Yeah, you do. You have to exclude 18 to 24 audience. And that stinks. That's because, awesome. Because the audience.
With a drink.
Well, and that's what's bad is you can't run to an audience of the 18 and 24-year-old. Even though 21, 22, 23, 24 are fine, they group it in 18 to 24. So you have to exclude the 18 to 24 demographic for any of your display, your remarketing, your search. You have to exclude that audience. Sometimes you also have to exclude unknown, but that is usually reactive because unknown will have 18, 19, 20, and 21 in there, or 18, 19, and 20 in there. But Google sometimes will say this audience is not permitted, it's limited, and then you have to go in and exclude the unknowns because unknowns are everyone.
Osama's dropping some value bombs for guys. As long as you're not suspended for misrepresentation, you're chilling. Is that historically been true for us, John? As long as it's not misrepresentation, is it easy to get over?
Yeah, usually they give you a lot of more specifics.
Yeah.
Misrepresentation is just so vague where it's like you're misrepresenting something. God, so as you called me a liar and I gotta figure out what you think I'm lying about. The other ones like contact information or tax or shipping, those are, they at least isolate it to something. So yeah, misrepresentation is the crappy one. Everything else is a lot easier.
I like what Robin said. Have you paid to get us here? There's a lot of truth to that. We've spent and wasted a lot of money. Like this is experiments done in your favor.
Yeah,
like
there's many years of spending a lot of money finding out what works and what doesn't. Yeah.
I actually need to sell weed to afford you.
That's
awesome.
Daryl, that's awesome. We already touched on that about the conversion tracking.
3 products that say mismatched value from Michelle.
I have 3 products that say mismatch value, and that's GTIN, I'm guessing. Michelle, if maybe just thumbs up or unmute and yes or no, if that's right.
I have no idea.
Oh,
I've tried.
Interesting.
I've tried the GTIN and to make sure that value is in there with the barcodes, and it's still not coming up. But
No.
also before I wanted to make a comment on your shipping, because I want to caution everybody, because in my real world, we handle millions and millions of dollars of shipping internationally and domestic. And right now, because of what's going on logistically, FedEx doesn't even guarantee anymore and on delivery, and Landstar has locked most of its West Coast major markets docks because they're trying to get out what product is on the docks right now. So that costs, just to give you guys an example, I used to, because I do sports, I would, for a playoff, would have to get a dedicated semi to go from maybe LA to, let's just say LA to New York. That semi a year and a half ago before COVID was about $6,000. Now it's $20,000 if I can get it. So you really, if there's an area you're going to get hurt in e-commerce, with everybody's like, oh yeah, but the canal, the Suez Canal is open. It is, but what happened again is that it backed up 400 ships, 200 on both sides. And then the docks were now backed up. We had 47 docks because we ship containers. We had 47 ships docked outside of the LA port trying to get in. So what used to take us maybe 2 weeks to clear customs is now taking us, especially for my international tours, is taking me like a month to 6 weeks. So that's where everybody needs to be very, very, very in tune with your shipping, and it changes daily. And if you're including it, you could get hurt. It could really impact what's going on with your pricing into your margins, because you're not going to, I'll see it because we get internationally, I sit on a bunch of panels, but you're not going to see it till it's too late and you've shipped a bunch of stuff and your shipping is double. And they say this won't clear up for at least the end of the year.
This is what shut down Brandon, John, who's the newer client, does a sports type thing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he pulled the plug because we sold all of his product faster than he thought we would, and then he couldn't get any more in for exactly what Michelle's saying.
Man, yeah, it's
well, and they're losing. They've already lost $5.9 billion in containers falling off ships in the middle of transit because they're overstacking them. So there's 5.9 billion just this
go
year.
Learn how to scuba.
I know. That's probably not arrested yet. That's insane.
So we didn't answer your question about your 3 products that have mismatched value.
I do have an idea though. Mismatch value could be as simple as age, gender, color, those small things too.
Okay.
If you hover over the bubble in GMC, and you're in Google Merchant Center under diagnosis, right?
Right.
And then is there anything that you can hover over?
Hovering over the ones that they gave me, like hovering over those products.
Yeah. Cosmo, are we set up to share screens?
Yeah.
Could you share your screen? Is that all right, Michelle?
Sure.
Cool.
If I get rid of this.
I feel like we're so close to an answer. Make sure.
Did you give me screen sharing? There you go.
You got to close portcan first.
I'm gonna kill my camera just because it's gonna increase the resolution on my side when I look at your screen.
Did that come up for you?
Nothing
Not yet.
I'm sharing.
There we are.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so that's the mismatch page crawl price. So this means that the price in the feed is not matching the price on the website. So if you hover over that little question icon or the question mark icon, if you click, does it allow you? There you go. So update your product's price and your product data to match the price on your landing page. So can you click the view examples of the 31 affected items next to it? So can you click on the what looks like, so value in the feed, $27, value on the website, 23. So if you click on the left-hand side there's a little box on the left of the product name. Yep, there you go. Okay, click on that, that'll open up a new tab. And it's gonna show us that could be a markdown sale price, $27.99. Okay, can you go back to Merchant Center, please? It thinks value on the website is $23. So this, I would say, it's not $23 because that's the large one that you clicked on, and it is $27. So this, in my opinion, since it's a content API, it's coming right from, and I'm guessing, yeah, you're on Shopify. I would contact Shopify and say, for whatever reason, the feed is sending a value of 23 when it should be sending a value of $27.99, and see if they can help you fix the feed.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're super nice. Because we're a foundation and they feel sorry for me. They're super nice and they've come back. They've like assigned me my own merchant guy.
All right. So here's a new rule for everyone. You all are now foundations.
I don't know. Maybe the guy likes drones and farming. I don't know.
Hey, who knows? But yeah, that'll be the issue though, is for whatever reason, the Google Merchant Center thinks that the value on the website is 23 and the value in the feed is 27. So I would see if Shopify, if there's something there that can help. If not, a good thing to do would be disconnecting the feed and then reconnecting it.
Okay.
Because that's going to reset essentially the crawl on the website.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it.
Real quick to Manali, while checking out Data Feed Watch, the link only shows 14 days. The 3 months free won't work if you've already signed up for a DFW trial at any point. So you might need to use a new email address. And hopefully that solves the problem.
All right. I bought some UPCs. Do I connect those in DFW or Merchant Center? So if you bought some UPCs, and then Mike, what CMS are you using?
Mike, you still here?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know what a CMS is.
Oh, are you on Shopify or WordPress?
Oh, yeah, Shopify.
Inside the product, there's going to be a field for GTIN/NPM/barcode. Just drop your UPCs in there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you got it. Mike Johnson, if we're on Shopify, is there any reason not to use the app to do conversion tracking like it showed in the 3X challenge? What's the benefit of using a different method? No. I'm going to show you the manual way to do what the app does. So it's going to be the same exact thing. I always like to use the Shopify conversion tracking because it saves you a whole bunch of time. But if you're not on Shopify and you say, hey, I need to set up conversion tracking, I'm going to show you how to set up a purchase conversion action. Daryl, is there a way to load UPC codes to a catalog in bulk? Not that I know. BigCommerce does, but you have to use their team. Yeah, it's BigCommerce. BigCommerce does that. We recently did that for a launch of a client, and he just sent them all, and they mashed it up and placed it in there. But I think he pays like $700 or $800 per month for that team because he's got a fairly large store, and they have like 80,000 in organic traffic per month. So it's something there. It was already up and running, but unfortunately, I don't know of a way to bulk update, especially in Shopify. I don't really honestly think there is a way. Yes, sorry about that. I'll stop apologizing. Sorry about that. Mariana, we are a UK-based shop, and this year we're expanding to the EU. From your experience and from Google Ads perspective, would you set up a separate Shopify store for the EU, or would you run everything from one store using currency conversion? I would run everything from one store using currency conversion. Here is the issue, though. In the EU versus UK versus US, their conversion values are different, and they're written different. So I forget which country, but they use a comma instead of a period. So a $49.95 conversion looks like $4,995 when that purchase takes place, because it's a comma, not a period. And so after 6 months of attempting to do this, we haven't been able to figure out, even through Day3 Watch, how to transfer that conversion metric into a different metric. So if that's that could be an issue, And especially if you're looking to go really hard and heavy into a specific area that has a comma in their currency rather than a period, it may be worth adding a new account and doing it that way. What you're going to gain in the new account is proper conversion tracking for day one. What you're going to lose is conversion history. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but it's going to save you the headache of saying, oh, where'd that purchase come from? Oh, what is that actual value? Oh, what should my return on ad spend be? Like 2% rather than 200 because it thinks every $40 item is a $4,000 purchase. Since you can only choose one currency at the time of setup, and you do that at the account level from your Google Ads account, and you can only do it once, you can't go back and change. I would say that unless you're dipping your toe and testing it, maybe dip your toe and test it, in the beginning. And if you find some good success, then open up a new account, because it's just going to be a nightmare dipping into expansion into those other countries. Some of the 12K in ad spend and over $1 million revenue. Oh, interesting. So smart shopping is really good. So yeah, absolutely. That it works everywhere. And what's cool about smart shopping is just like any other kind of shopping campaign mentality, they're going to see the product and the price before they click. So very often are you going to say, wow, a $999 lawnmower, I'm really interested. And then they get to the page and say $999. No, like they know the price before they click, pay per click. So it works really well with high ticket items because they agree to the product and the price and the manufacturer and the image before they even get there, before you pay for that. So yeah, it works really well for high ticket stuff. Michelle Truman, shipping will be an issue. Yep. I think, thank you.
Yeah, that was a valuable, Michelle. Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, gosh, and again, a Google Ads person like me is not going to really have firsthand experience with it. Our clients would, and so I appreciate you letting everyone know that. An update on GTN Shopify issue. I unchecked the custom box Google channel, added the category, and some of the products are now not throwing that issue. Yay! I can't believe that was the issue. That is so frustrating. But I'm glad you came up with that idea, and so that's awesome. At least no error on Shopify and still showing Merch Center, but I imagine hopefully that changes soon. So cool. Let's keep us posted. That's awesome.
Now, if you have any compliance issues, go to Neha. She'll try.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. Can you run the one tomorrow? That's gonna be nice. It's so weird how checking the box for custom product just ignores GTIN. Like, how could you not have a GTIN for a custom product? Every product is technically custom when it first comes out. That's just so counterintuitive in my mind. Okay, so while checking
Can I quickly say something about that too? I also just noticed as I'm going through them all, the ones that have the category listed as like skincare dash this, like kind of the whole thread of it, those are throwing the error. But when I delete that, save, then put in the number and save again, it doesn't anymore.
Now, do you lose a category though?
It's the same category. I don't know why it just changed it to that thread versus the number. And I don't know why it's doing it, and hopefully it doesn't come back, but it's doing it for now. It's taking it away.
Awesome. That's good. God, that's so frustrating. It's so counterintuitive. Like it's set up rules that don't exist based on what they believe exists.
Well, and even when you check the thing that says that Google has an issue, and it has like a pop-up box, and you uncheck it there and you hit save, still you can see behind it, it's still checked. So then you have to close that and uncheck it again and then back out. It's really bizarre.
That is really frustrating. That's really annoying. Well, thanks for that tip. If everyone here, if that can be beneficial to anybody here, that's good.
No problem.
Good tip. Thank you.
Next question is Robin. Is there a path to disconnect from Google on shopping and reconnect?
Yep. If you're on Shopify, yeah, it's actually, I'll share my screen here. Really simple way. If you're using Shopify, you're going to be using the Content API. The Content API is going to be resubmitted nightly. Midnight usually is what their feed fetch schedule is, and you don't have a way to change that. It just fetch schedules, I think, daily. So what a good way to do this would be, just to kind of refetch it, is if you're using the Shopify I think this one might be using it. Yeah, so here's Content API. Clicking that delete button will remove it, and then within 24 hours that will come back, and that's been refetched. So Content API, when you're connected through the app, it will just resubmit it to Merchant Center. It'll just come back. Now, I have not had an issue with it never coming back. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't one day have an issue with it just not coming back. So if it doesn't come back, go into the Google channel in Shopify and just disconnect from Merchant Center and then reconnect from Merchant Center, and it'll resubmit that content API back into Merchant Center.
Well, I tried to, Don was actually trying to help me out in our subgroup for this problem. And so I did that. I unconnected through Shopify and I waited, I think it was 24 hours, reconnected it. Shopify is saying, and I like unpublished everything from Google and then managed like 24 items.
Mhm.
And republished those to Google's, reconnected. Google's still saying that I have 7,000 SKUs and that this many is approved, this many is pending, and this many is disapproved. And I mean, there's like 6,000 that are approved. But in Shopify, I've only like published 60 items.
So you only have 60 items total on your store.
That are published to Google.
And it's pulling in all of the items though that are on your store.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. My opinion, that would be okay if when you put those into ads, you simply select the products you want to market in Google Ads. I don't know why Shopify is sending all of them. That again, possibly could be a Shopify issue.
Well, do you think if I click that trash can in Merchant Center to trash the API and let it reset, that Google will throw away everything that had been there for the last 6 months?
Yes, it will. But it doesn't mean that it's not, Shopify is not going to resend all those 6,000 products back into it though.
It's been like a week and they're all still pending in Shopify, but they're showing, it's showing published in, I mean, I don't know if it's showing published in Google because it's got so many things that are published.
Inside of Google, in the Merchant Center, on your overview page, do you see a bunch of the green and then red and socials? Once that's green, you're good to go. Like the Shopify integration is trying to interpret what Merchant Center has approved, but Merchant Center is what is going to be approved. And when Merchant Center is approved, that can be sent right into ads now, regardless of what the Shopify integration says. Merchant Center is the be all end all.
So don't worry about what's in Shopify.
Yeah, we still have clients that have been running for like 2 years that say like pending or like all disapproved. I'm like, and then I still sometimes every quarter from the same client, they're like, John, it looks like everything's disapproved. I'm like, no. We go to Merchant Center, everything looks good. We're still up and running. It's like, oh, okay. So that Merchant Center, that Shopify integration is not does not win a conflict. Merchant Center always wins the conflict.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep, you got it. I'm getting an error in my Shopify account that says Google has noticed that you haven't completed the Google Ads checklist. The only setup I can see is verify free product listings. Oh, so that's in here. I'll show you where Merchant Center. Is it Naz? I hope it's Naz. It might be Naz. I'm sorry if I mess up the name. Anybody smarter than me can correct me. I'm so sorry. But under
Naz. It's okay.
Naz. Okay, cool. So the free area inside of Merchant Center is actually under Growth, Manage Programs, and you'll see free product listings here. What free, and you can activate and set up this area all inside of Merchant Center here. And what this basically does is in the shopping tab, after the ads for shopping, you have a free shopping list. And that's something that we're going to be going over in training on when you're, because we'll also want to set up or make sure that dynamic remarketing is enabled and that kind of stuff too. We're going to go through that in our build out. But the free product listings, essentially what that is it gives you think of like an SEO product listing. So if you were to, and of course, Cosmo's going to love my example, red shoes. In red shoes, when you click on the shopping tab, after all of the ads, so these are all sponsored. So inside of here, you're going to have a mix between, majority of the time, these will all still be running ads because they're take ads first. They don't tell you which area, but most of the time on pretty far down or on page 2 or 3, you're going to have again, underneath the sponsored and in here, you're going to have a click that is going to be free and traffic that will be free. And you'll be like right here, if you share a GTIN example with another company. So this is your free product listing. Now, there's really no way to control this from the ads ecosystem. Google Ads does not interface with the free product listings. Think of it, free product listings like SEO. How do you get a better placement? Well, you try to do different titles and different descriptions and have a lower price to win the buy box. But you're also going to inherit any changes you make on the free Google listings feed into your shopping feed. So if you lower your price to get a better organic click, you've also lowered your price on your ads. So my opinion is you can opt into the program. I haven't been able yet to see a measurable result because people usually don't hunt through multiple pages of Google before they find the one that they like. They usually click on the ads first. So it's basically Google's way of saying like, hey, you didn't opt into this free program that may not benefit you. That's technically the only warning that you're really seeing.
Yeah, I mean, what seems to have happened though is that in Shopify itself, it doesn't allow me to, or that my product feed seemed to have stopped because I wasn't compliant. It said I hadn't completed the checklist, which means that my feed, just wasn't syncing with merchant, which means that So look, thank you.
So on that compliance feed, are you using the Google? You're using the Google Ads app, right?
Google Ads app in Shopify, yeah.
Yep. On that checklist where it says I have at least three, the 3 contact pieces of information, I have at least I have my payment methods filled out. Did you check all of those off?
Yep.
And it's still
all of those are green.
And then it still got disapproved.
No, but it still gave me an error.
And then errors in Shopify.
It just wasn't. Yeah.
And then Merchant Center now sees your feed being removed.
Yeah, no, everything just stopped syncing. Everything stopped syncing unless. So I mean, I can show you my screen if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
I'm gonna kill my camera so you can share.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
It's coming up. Yep, got it.
All right, so what we've got is if you look at something like this one, the Happy Me Journal. Yeah, it's going to take a bit of time to get that. So yeah, so look, I mean, here is where it says my destinations, what it's asking for. My internet is so slow, sorry.
No worries. And while we're waiting for this loaded, could you hop over to the Merchant Center and go to the diagnosis page or diagnostics?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what you'll see is it's going to start.
Expiring.
Starting to expire in a couple of days. So I spent a lot of this session filling in GTIN codes. You can see also that we've got different feeds for different places, right? But if this also answers the question about European expansion. We decided to go the opposite route and have different feeds for different places.
Yeah, different currencies and some of that.
Yeah, so you can see that our shopping ads completely dived because there was no I think it was a GTIN issue, and I've just added them in this session. Okay, no, it's taking a while to go.
Here it comes. There we are.
Yeah, here it is. So approved, free product, right? So this is the error that I can't seem to get past, right? Verify that free product listings in your merchant center says active, right?
Can you click on settings? Oh.
Settings.
Oh, so you can go back to in the breadcrumbs at the top. Yep, there we go. That works too. Under the settings tab. Perfect. So confirm ad billing information in your Google Ads account. That's fine here. So let's see here. You have billing in your Google Ads account, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Can you just confirm that real quick under the Google Ads account where it says add billing information in your Google Ads account settings, confirm details? Can you click confirm details?
Okay, yeah. I've added billing info. Yeah.
I've added billing info. And just click I've, yep, that's perfect. Sorry, it's a little bit laggy for me. I can scroll up a little bit. And then, so that's 0551. Can you hop over to Merchant Center, please? This is a different.
Yeah, it's this one.
There. So this one has them expiring. And then let's go into under products, please, on the left-hand side. And then limited performance, missing identifiers. Yeah, so what's interesting is, and click on feeds, please. Shopping US. So Merchant Center, or sorry, Shopify has stopped up, I think 24 days ago then, or 25 days ago, stopped sending the feed into Merchant Center. What I would say is in Shopify, if we go back to Shopify Plus tab at the top. Now, since everything is fine, and the only thing that was, quote unquote, not compliant was just like we didn't tell them that they would be vetted billing, but that shouldn't be in the Google Ads account. The Google Merchant Center is fine. If have you tried disconnecting from Merchant Center and resubmitting?
No, not yet.
Let's try that first, because there's no reason why feeds should just be expiring. That's essentially saying that once a feed has been stopped sending from Shopify to Merchant Center will hold on to that feed for 30 days. And then once 30 days elapse, then it simply just gets removed, but everything looks fine. So this is an issue for whatever reason. Shopify isn't sending that feed anymore into Merchant Center. And since you're on Plus, you should have you should have a team that can help you there. But there's nothing here that would be, oh, this is a simple fix. I would, in my opinion, I'd reach out to Shopify and ask why the feed is no longer being sent to Merchant Center and what's the issue, and see if they can help fix it, because you're compliant here with everything. It's a very, very standard implementation. For whatever reason, 6 or 7 days ago, now it's been saying, well, it's now you're on the ticking countdown at that 30-day point. We're just going to now simply remove all those products. You'll still be up and running until that day, but it will be removed. And I don't know why Shopify is no longer sending the feed information over to it. So that's essentially what's really happening, is just Shopify stopping.
All of my feeds seem to have stopped recently, so it's just, yeah, trying to get them back up. Yeah,
have you reached out to Shopify yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, reach out to them, and because it's a Shopify issue, Merchant Center simply just says, hey, you've stopped sending the feed to me. Shopify is the one that's stopping that feed being sent. So I think my opinion would be reach out to them to see is there any sort of technical issue, because last week we had Shopify not sending the feed into Merchant Center, and they're like, oh yeah, we know there's a little bit of a common problem with this. We've gone ahead and fixed it, and now that person's up and running. And that was from the first implementation, and that was about a week ago. So theirs was a simple, oops, we're sorry, we fixed it. So I'd reach out to them first and just let's cross that box off first and foremost, because if it's an issue with Shopify, we could sit here banging our head against the wall trying to figure out why, and it's just been a technical issue on their end.
Okay, look, thank you very much. That's been very helpful.
Yep, absolutely. Mariana, was it you? Yeah, I had an issue with Shopify not sending the feed to GMC, and they confirmed there was an issue and they resynced it for me. Yeah, Mariana, was that you that we were talking with back and forth on the 3X group?
Yeah, that's right. That was me.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, you had basically the same issue. Like Shopify was just like, oops, we're sorry, we didn't send the feed, our bad. So I imagine if it's something that simple, we're never gonna technically work through it on our end. So reaching out to them like Mariana did, and they were like, oops, sorry, it's fixed now. So that could be the issue.
Fine.
Awesome.
All right. So how often does that sync take? Is it every 24 hours?
Yes. And then so give it 3 hours after a sync to see it show up, at least 3 hours.
Fine. All right. Well, look, that's my first thing is to see, okay, we've added that billing info, or we've ticked that box. Let's just see whether that does anything.
Yeah, I would say, because if it's their issue, we can't fix it on our side. It's something physically wrong with their system.
Fine. Perfect. Look, thank you very much. Very helpful.
You got it. What else?
Michael said he had to step away, but his question is, we touched on some sales tax stuff earlier, but does anyone have any recommendations for how you make sure you're staying up to date with all the sales tax laws in the US?
So it depends on the CMS again. Shopify automatically does it for you. And that's what I usually recommend, because that can be a nightmare between each municipality, county, state, city, and those ever-changing tax updates. If you're not on Shopify, it is a bit of a pain. You have to do it manually. That's why agencies exist. TaxJar I have seen do it well, but depending on their connection with the CMS, sometimes it doesn't update the feed as well. So Shopify will do it for you. So if you're on Shopify, that's why we recommend Shopify. That's why we ran the 3x Shopify, because it's something I don't have to say like, okay, every day just check all of the tax rates, make sure that you're not non-compliant. So that's an issue, but there is companies like TaxJar that keep that up to date and then offer direct integration to your CMS, and then they will simply update it for you. I've only had one issue with Shopify where TaxJar was updating it. It was competing against Shopify's updating it. Those two had discrepancies, and then that's when we got the suspension. So if you're on a different CMS, I recommend TaxJar. TaxJar keeps up to date all of those. And again, for not an affiliate, I've just seen clients use it and works really, really well. TaxJar for non-Shopify is who I'd recommend to integrate into your CMS. They will update all of your taxes. Those get pushed through your feed. It will also update Google Merchant Center, and you won't have to have a worry about that in the future.